You got the honor of playing very different characters between Cliffjumper and Bruticus. You know, one being the young, brave, run out there and get it done, and then the much more, the 5 combiner team, Bruticus, coming together. They're very different characters. So can you speak to how you kind of brought that out differently and how you kind of approached the 2 characters?
Well, I like to really get into my role. I did a lot of yoga. And despite my best efforts, I could neither transform into a car or a robot. I did pull several muscles. And one day I was stuck for 2 days in the lotus position. And I now have prosthetic feet. I'll tell you what, as I said before, they're very different roles. They're a lot of fun to play. Can I talk about jazz? One thing that you'll get a treat, we're not the only, obviously, voice talent, although we could have been. My cohort in this, and one of the things that made this a lot of fun is, and I'm sure there's fans of him because I'm a fan of his, Jazz is played by Troy Baker. And despite some of you not liking this, he and I are friends. And we actually they did a great thing with this, is rather than, Gregg was talking about earlier about a lot of time we're in the booth alone to do this work. They brought us in together because we know each other, and they thought, these two have to run around in this campaign. Let's have them interact vocally as well. And I think that really lends to the feel of the heart of this, to the fun factor too. Because I wish you could play the outtakes, but you'll never hear those because social services would take my children away. But it's one of those rare times when the developer says, hey, the dynamic between these two as what it is, in life, let's bring that and bring that into the room and then to the game. And I think, he was great. The voices that he put on was just fantastic. In fact, I got to tell you, I actually like Jazz better than that. I was like, I wanted to say, I'm Jazz too. I'd do that. Come on, Cliffjumper. Why'd you have to pay him? Cliffjumper, let's do this. Doesn't look very safe, Jazz. Oh, come on, get your ass up here, boy.
Can you imagine this guy in the studio? Can you imagine trying to do a half-hour recording? Oh, boy.
Yeah, we don't get a lot done. We're paid by the hour.
So we have Bruticus now. Bruticus was the big hulking 5 combiner. Can you speak about your part as Bruticus a little bit? And
the great thing about that, he's just raw, just anger. He's the guy in the 405 looking at Grimlock, going, "What are you gonna do about it?" Just the violence and the fun of him, just being someone big, but who's kind of, he's still an underling. He's not one of the. He still has to take orders, but just I don't know how to put it. It's always fun to play a character that there's an obstacle, and some characters that I play a lot are like ones like, we have to figure out a way to get around this. Brody's like, let's just crush it, and you're like, oh, okay, And so there's some. I love the simplicity of that character. When you're just playing somebody like that, and vocally it's vocal gymnastics, and just. Nice cup of tea at the end of the day. It's always lovely. But and that's another thing. They take care of us, make sure there's lozenges. See, when you don't naturally sound like you have a lit cigar in your larynx.
Oh.